2, 1, and we should be live. All right, all right. Welcome everyone to another weekly live stream with Subtle Asian Voices. I'm your host, Brian, and we have a very special guest today, Melissa. Actually, one of my good friends for many years now. I don't remember how long. But we're going to talk through her amazing career. I think we categorize Melissa right now as a fitness trainer slash athlete, but she does so much more, which you're going to get to hear about. And before we jump into that, why don't we actually have Melissa introduce herself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Lyons. I'm 30 years old. I am both a fitness trainer and a fitness athlete, I would say. Originally from Tampa, Florida, but recently moved to the Dallas area in Texas. And my cat is meowing at me right now. So I'm going to let him in. Hold on. If he wants to come in, he'll come in.
Okay. What's your name? What's the name of your cat?
I've got two cats. One of them is Henry, and he is the gray one. He might come in. We'll see.
It's a human name.
And then I also have another cat named Oscar.
Oh, Henry and Oscar. Okay, very cute names. All right. Why don't we start off this segment with some rapid fire questions so we can all get to know Melissa. Um, so all you got to do, I'm going to say two kind of different things, and then you just pick one of them. Whatever comes to your top of your mind first, okay?
Got it.
All right. First one is pho or ramen?
Oh no.
This one.
Oh,
Quick, which one? Which one?
Pho.
Okay, pho. Road trip or plane?
Plain.
Plane. East Coast or West Coast?
Oh, West Coast, even though I live
Oh,
East
dang,
Coast.
West Coast,
I know,
surprising. Okay.
it's way prettier.
Yeah. Hip hop or pop?
Oh man. Hip hop.
Pineapple on pizza or no pineapple?
Ew, no.
Okay. Um, Group training or one-on-one training?
Small group training.
Small group training. What's a small group? Like three, four?
Yeah, no more than 5.
No more than five. Okay. What is more fun to you, or what was more fun? College or post college?
Post college.
Okay. Nice
Man,
choice.
my 30s, man. This is
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
It's like college, but with actual money and
Oh
time,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's good.
Okay, so let's jump right in. We have a lot of questions that I'm going to follow along here that we have for Melissa today, but we also have a live audience. So anyone that is tuned in to watch the live stream, feel free to leave your questions for Melissa, and then in between some of the questions, we'll get to yours. So feel free to leave those. Okay, so first question here today, Melissa. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey and how it all started and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah. So this whole fitness journey kind of happened by chance.
Mm,
One of my exes was really big into the workout scene. I had never really worked out at a gym before. I grew up doing dance, but the gym was not something that was readily available or um, shown to me. So he was super big into the gym, and I went with him, but I had no idea what I was doing. So I was like, the gym sucks. I'm not coming back here. Um, but then one of my other friends introduced me or told me that I should try CrossFit because it was
uh,
like coached, and it was only an hour long, and you didn't have to think
wait,
about
did you know anything about CrossFit at the time? Or
no,
no, you didn't know anything. Okay. A-
nothing at all.
And this was in college?
Yeah, this was in college. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Go ahead, go ahead.
Um, and I found a Groupon and I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, cheap CrossFit, let's
There you
go.
go.
And dude, went in and found out I was very competitive. And I also found out that I didn't want to be a doctor or nurse like my parents wanted me to be. I wanted to be a CrossFit coach.
Wait, so the first time you entered this CrossFit gym, you really liked it then.
Oh yeah. I was like, what is this? I found out I was strong. I
Mm.
found out that yeah, that I was competitive. I was like, it's not a competition. I
Okay.
I had my ex with me and also my ex's friend with me, and I was like, I'm trying to beat these guys right now. So yeah, I was like, this is fun. Like I don't have to think about what I'm doing because there's a coach telling you what to do. And yeah,
Well,
it was
what were some of the things that happened during that first session that made you realize that you liked it? Like, what was it? Like the ambiance? Was it the people? Was it the activities you were doing? Like, what stood out to you that first time?
um what stood out to me the most was, well, it happened to be just me, my ex, and my ex's friend. Um, and we were able to work out together and do the whole thing together.
Mm.
Um, and if I had to modify something, then I was able to modify it to my level, right? So I enjoyed that about it. And I also enjoyed that I didn't have to think and that it was happening with a group.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, what were the next steps to get to where you today? Like, did you decide this is my life? This is what I'm gonna do forever? Like, what were the next steps after that?
It actually very much almost happened exactly like that. I
Wow.
like committed, finished off the Groupon. It was like a 2 month Groupon. Um, and then after that, I signed up and I was about to graduate high school actually. Um, no, I don't know. When did I? Nope. I was about to graduate college. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I was like, okay, I have a choice. I can either go the professional route and go to grad school, or I can, since this gym, you didn't know this, but this gym was going to move to another area and they
Mm.
were looking for new coaches anyway. And I was like, can I coach?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big move. Very curious now. So, what was on your mind for grad school? Like, was it in like fitness or gym? And then what was going through your mind as you chose this? That's a pretty big decision.
Yeah, super big decision. So I had already been battling with my mom about what to do with my career.
Oh.
And she wanted me to either be a doctor or be a nurse or, um, typical Asian
Hmm.
parents. So I settled and I was like, I'm just going to do health sciences. So I got my bachelor's in health sciences and I could have chosen to do grad school, like I said, but um, yeah, it was basically this opportunity was open. Like they were looking for coaches. So I was like, I can always go back to school if I need to, right?
Mm.
But for right now, this seems like something I want to do. You know, some people wait a couple years to go to grad school anyway. I think that was my um, kind of train of thought at the time. Like, okay, this might be a permanent thing, me being in fitness, or like at the time I was like trying to please my parents at the same time. So I was
Yeah.
like, I told them, I'll go back to school.
Gotcha.
Just let me do this for the summer or whatever. Yeah.
And the reason why I asked is like I'm sure a lot of folks who may be contemplating two different paths. It's like something obviously that you really liked and you found out you liked versus like the path that kind of like that your parents wanted for you and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's good to hear that. Okay, so let's read a couple comments. So Mark says skipping BJJ today. I see. I'm assuming that's one of your friends. Keith,
Yeah.
Keith Media says, yeah, Kathleen had to do BJJ alone.
Yep. Those are my jujitsu people. I skipped jujitsu to do this today.
Awesome. We're happy to
No
have you here.
regrets.
There you go. Okay, so you chose to do the coach, which I take it that's what you ended up doing.
Yeah.
And how did it go on from there?
So after I started coaching, I obviously really enjoyed it. Um, and it turned into me being a coach and then me kind of asking for more roles to kind of support myself more, right? Like, not gonna lie, being a coach, especially at like a very niche fitness realm, doesn't pay very well,
Mm,
especially when you're first starting off. So, yeah, I had asked for more roles, ended up being an assistant manager at the CrossFit gym I was at, and then also ended up working at another CrossFit gym.
wow.
Man, I had like four kind of different jobs at the time, but I was like, what, 22, right? When you graduate
Yeah,
college.
yeah,
I had all this energy and I was like, yeah, I can do it all.
yeah. Did this like between all four jobs exceed 40 hours? Like you're working a lot then?
Um, I would say it was probably around 40 hours, but the most kind of taxing part of it was like commuting
Mm,
to each gym. Yeah, for sure.
okay. So how long did you were you in that kind of space for, like working all these different gyms, different roles, and then like how did it go on next? What was the next step?
Okay. So I eventually burnt out. I was like,
Yeah.
cannot, I cannot keep doing four jobs. I need
Yeah.
to kind of find a space where I can grow professionally.
Mm,
And I found that place at another CrossFit gym, Cigar City CrossFit in Tampa. And they had like tiered pay. So the more certifications you had, the more experience on the floor you had, the more you got paid. And so I was like, wow, this is how you become a professional,
mm,
being a fitness coach. Um, so yeah, I did that for a while and was able to, I would say I couldn't have done it alone probably. Um, but with the support of my ex at the time, like I was able to pay my bills and just stay afloat being a CrossFit coach. Yeah.
okay. And during this time, is that when you started doing a lot of competitions, or were you already doing a lot of competitions throughout this?
Yeah. So I was living parallel lives, but they're all intertwined, right? So
Uh,
I was a CrossFit coach, and then on my off hours, I would be training to compete. Um, so normally, when you're a coach, especially at like niche CrossFit, um, the hours are early in the morning, and then when people get off work at like 4, 5, 6 p.m. So I had quite a bit of time, unless I had like personal clients or something, to train competitively um, for whatever sport I was in at the time. Um, so yeah,
wow. So what? How long before it took before you started enrolling and competing in all these dip competitions?
it didn't take very long.
You start right away.
Yeah, I started CrossFit May of 2012.
2012.
And then my first kind of competitive thing was very superficial. It was like a bikini, like physique competition.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I decided I did not like that.
Okay.
Um, and then one of my coaches at the time was like, "Hey, you're really strong for your size. You should try powerlifting." And I was like, "Okay." So I did. And 6 months later, I was a world record holder, and it was awesome.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa. That's we just like went from 0 to 100 real quick. Hold on. So May 2020 is when you started
May
CrossFit.
2012.
2012. 2012. And then you got into bikini competitions like 6 months after that.
Yeah. May. Yep.
So between 6 months and you said like was it 8 months later?
Yeah. Just about.
You did power. So what was that time span like? Like what was the training like? like how did that all happen? That's because you said you won a record at that time, right? World
Yeah,
record.
yeah.
So
Um, so the timing of that might be a little off. I might have, so I did bikini. I hated that. I did some obstacle course racing, and I was like, running's not my gig.
yeah, Ninja Warrior, right? Ninja Warrior. Yeah, nice.
Ninja Warrior was like after powerlifting,
Oh,
actually.
after. Okay.
So powerlifting happened, I want to say, man, definitely after bikini. I want to say it started early 2013 is when I started training for it.
Gotcha.
Um, and yeah, so there's very little 97-pound females that want to compete in powerlifting, at least at the time. Definitely like,
A lot
yeah,
more now.
yeah, 7 years ago. Uh, and I was like, yeah, I guess I'm pretty strong for my size. And my first competition I did, someone like picked me up and they were like, hey, you should train to get a world record. And so I was like, okay. And I did. And I had a world record.
So you went in with the intention of getting a world record. Like you trained for that because of that reason.
Yeah, my very first competition, no. I was like, this is just for fun.
Oh,
I like dip my toes in obviously a whole bunch of things. And if I like it, I usually stick with it for a period of time. And I really liked powerlifting, and this random, I guess, former athlete, and then at the time was a coach, was like, hey, I'll train you for free.
oh wow.
You can get a world record. Um, so I did that and did
And
that for a while. I think I did it like for 2 years, but I had
powerlifting?
got the world record. Yep, got the world record like 6 months after I started. Someone else got the world record, and then I tried to get it back. Um, and I ended up injuring myself. So
Oh no. Gotcha. I am not knowledgeable at all about powerlifting, but can you enlighten someone like me and then maybe some people who may be watching? What is the world record in? Like, what is the motion and like what is the, the thing that you actually did that earned it?
yeah. So I would break this down as barbell sports. There's really two main ones. There's powerlifting and then there's Olympic weightlifting. So the very first thing I tried was powerlifting, and powerlifting is the squat, the back squat, the bench press, and then the deadlift.
Hmm.
So the back squat, bars on your back, you squat with it, hips come below the knees, and you stand up. If you stand up, then you're good. Bench press, you're laying on a bench, bar touches your chest, and then you press it out. If you press it out, lift is good. And then the deadlift, you're just picking up some weight off the ground,
Okay.
standing up with it.
A- And the record is in all three of those, or is it in what?
Yes. So I got a world record in the total of all three of those lifts.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So from then, how did you end up to where you are now?
Um, so I would say where I am now isn't all that different from where I was.
Oh, okay.
I was a coach and also kind of competing alongside being a coach. And right now, I'm still a coach. And I mean, right this second, I'm not actively training for a competition, but I have the choice to. I qualified for a national event in December, but
Nice.
we'll see if that
So
actually.
there a lot more competitions in the future for you.
Yes. Either in, I mean, I like to jump around. So I don't know if I'm going to stick with weightlifting or, my jujitsu peoples. I may try a jujitsu competition. Who knows? Who knows?
Okay. The world is your oyster.
Right.
Um, so let's talk about something, and one of the reasons why we have this channel is especially um, representing all the different types of things we do as Asian Americans. And I don't know that many who do the things that you do, whether it's a fitness coach or, I mean, I don't know many world record holders either, but you're like the first person I know. But in general, you represent something that I think, especially at the Olympics this year, a lot of people don't see. At the same time, being a first generation Asian American, many of our parents push us, even you mentioned at first, towards like your medicine, your law, your engineering. So I'm very curious, how did your parents feel about your whole journey from the beginning where you decided to go into it and then even now?
Oh, it's been a journey. So at the beginning, I got all the pushback. They, one, didn't like that I was lifting weights. There's this stigma that, I don't know, I guess Asians are supposed to be just skinny and frail. And
Hmm.
um, after I was working out for a little bit, I guess genetically, I was like toning up. And my mom was like, "You look like a bouncer at a gym." And that stuck with me. So, like, I mean, I'm a little less self conscious about it now. Um, so, on the athletic part of it, not supportive. They were like, you should do yoga,
Mm.
slim your muscles down, whatever. And then career wise, same pushback. Go back to school. Um, that's not a real job, you know. So yeah, it was difficult. Probably, I mean, I still feel it today. It's a little bit better, but there have been events that have softened my parents' view
Mm.
on fitness, like Heidelin Diaz of the Philippines
Yes.
in gold.
Yes.
Um, showed them that, okay, I guess
And
Asian females can lift weights, and it's okay.
yeah, I mean, how did that occur? Did they like come up to you and say, "Wow, look at this"? Like,
Yeah, they were like, can you go to the Olympics then? um, and I was like, I can't, but yeah, it's
okay.
not quite there. Um, so yeah, they aren't, man, I want to say they're supportive now that I have started looking into, or I'm a business now.
Hmm.
I've made a business for myself, and that has also softened their view a little bit. Like, oh, you're not a nurse, you're not a doctor, you're not an engineer, but you're making your own business. Okay,
There you
approve
go.
it.
But in general, now they're more supportive of you versus in the very beginning.
Yeah, there's a there's something about proving yourself
Hmm.
to not only yourself but also to your parents. So, especially in the Asian culture. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's hard, and I feel as though a lot of people that I know probably wouldn't have taken the path that you would have
Yeah.
because of all the peer pressure. But look at where you're at now. That's super awesome. So it's glad that you stuck it out and you did this. Um, so along those lines, it seems as though there were probably struggles along that journey. Can you tell me about a time in this whole process where you maybe struggled the most and perhaps maybe just wanted to completely quit? And how did you overcome that?
Yeah. Um, Despite my parents telling me I shouldn't do fitness, I've never doubted myself.
Mm, nice.
I've always been like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. I'm very happy with what I'm doing. But COVID times, man, that was the very beginning of COVID times, February. Um, I moved from Tampa to Texas
During COVID.
right before everything shut down. So
Oh, fell
February
February.
20, yeah, February 2020, I moved and I was like, okay, I'm new. I got to establish myself. Let's go. And then I go to establish myself, and all the gyms are shut down. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was really like, oh shit, I need to find something else to do. Like, I maybe might have to quit and just not be a coach because nothing's open right now. Um, and I'm very much, I mean, I could always take the like social media route or um, remote training route. But I mean, just my background, I very much enjoy like coaching people in person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I can see you right there, I can fix you and hopefully prevent injury and all of that. So I prefer the in-person training. So I had some side hustles for a little bit. I also, once things started to open up, I did find a gym, but we didn't quite mesh. So I was like, okay, this is like a sign, right? Like I need, maybe my coaching career is over.
Mm-hmm.
um, but I was like, no, you are a grown woman. let's let's
There
figure
you go.
out what the heck. Just because it didn't mesh the first time doesn't mean that there's not another place for you. So I found another gym. I also found jujitsu, thanks to my husband Keith. And um, my jujitsu professor was like, "Hey, I want you to train our kids or train my kids." And then that kind of grew, and I was like, "Well, this is a lot. I think I need to like make my own business," which I ended up doing. So,
Nice. And this is all very recent too, right?
oh
So
my God, like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. There you go. Look at that. There you go. Very fresh story. Before I jump into this, let's do some quick comments here. We have Jasmine saying, "Super proud of you. You're amazing." And I think you're pretty close with Jasmine, right? Or
Oh
like
yeah,
you're okay. And
yeah.
what's the relationship?
I'm her G little,
Ah,
so
there you
back
go.
in college,
Very nice.
we got paired up, and she was my little mentor. Well, I was the little, she was the mentor. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then Mark says, "What training nutrition myth annoys you the most?"
Oh man, there are so many. Uh, uh, that you can't eat at night. That uh, I don't know, man. There's so many. Like carbs are bad for you, or yeah, man. Those are the two that come to mind for sure.
I hear a lot about, and this is, I'm certainly ignorant on the topic as well. I hear a lot about different diets. That's probably the most popular: keto, Atkins, intermittent fasting. Like,
Yeah.
if someone came up to you and asked that kind of question, like, what's your, do you have a general answer that you would give, or how do you feel about those?
Yeah, I would always redirect them to sustainability, right? Like if you can keep whatever diet that you found on the internet that day for not only a month, 2 months, but for years, um, then whatever works for you works for you. I know of a few people who stick to intermittent fasting just because like their lifestyle kind of allows it, right? Like maybe they don't wake up until super late, or they're super busy in the morning, so they don't end up eating around whatever, one or two anyway. Um, but sustainability is the biggest thing, and I would redirect them to eating real food. Just eat real food, man,
Mm.
and you'll be good. Get yourself a protein source, uh, a carb source, a fat source. Fill that plate with the goodness, real food, and try that for a month and see what happens, and tell me that you don't see the difference. So yeah, real food, man.
There you
Just
go. Okay, I need to take that advice as well. But so one more question from the audience, and then we're going to jump into the next one on the outline. So, Misa is the most. This is from Christiania. Misa is the most strong woman physically and mentally I know. She is such an inspiration and got me into fitness to change my life. Wow, is that
oh,
someone that you work with? Very nice.
Yeah, that's my cousin. I love her.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so why don't we jump into another question? This one's kind of more broad, but tell me about one of your life role models and then how have they inspired you?
Oh man, life role models. In terms of being an athlete, I would say Heidelin Diaz has been one
Mm,
of those um, that has inspired me to stick with whatever you're passionate about, despite what either society tells you or your parents tell you or um, any setbacks. So yeah, and then any really smaller female athletes, I
you like?
admire a lot because I feel like you don't see that very often. You see it now more, but yeah, back when I started, it was all the audience for Asians, for small females, very slim. So yeah, and in terms of being a professional, um, like a fitness coach. I don't have anyone particular in mind. Um, I've almost felt like I've done this journey kind of by myself in
Mm,
terms of like a coach. I mean, in athletics, you can find someone, right? You can Google, be like, who's one of the top Asian athletes in the world, and boom, you follow their Instagram and you're inspired. But you can't there has never been anyone in the fitness industry in terms of being a professional that I could look up to, which is kind of making me sad answering this question. Um, so yeah, I've just kind of
Bittersweet in a way too, right? Because like the fact that you say there aren't that many, I'm sure that just from your comments from your cousins there, I'm sure you are that for a lot of people.
yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, that's always nice. Okay, so let's move on to another question. You work with a lot of people. What are some trends that you've noticed when working with clients? So people who are interested in maybe doing what you do, like what are some of the challenges, successes, most enjoyable, maybe least enjoyable moments that you've had working with people?
Yeah. Well, going back to just females in general, really. Anytime a female kind of walks into the gym, they're always hesitant about this is very much a trend about gaining too much muscle
Mm,
or getting bulky.
hmm
And you know, that's been, I would say, a struggle, but also um, they realize quickly that okay, they're not going to get bulky unless they're doing some weird stuff. Yeah, so that's one trend that I've seen. Um, Enjoyable moments is really kind of every day. Um, I see it all the time. Like people walk in not confident, um, don't really believe that they can achieve what everyone else is achieving when they walk in. They're like, oh my gosh, that looks so hard. I'm very intimidated. And then they're doing it like 6 months later. I'm like, see?
Nice.
So that's been, I mean, that's why I do
Yeah,
whatever, right? So
I'm sure that's a really nice feeling too, to see someone that you've worked with make that kind of progression.
for sure.
Okay. Um, let's go on to another one. This is an exciting one to me. I think it's super interesting and very inspiring when someone goes out and starts their own business. So you launched your website and LLC. Sounds like pretty recently, like in the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
Can you tell me more about, what led you to make that move, and then like what is that? What is your future plans out there? Like let's say 5, 10 years. Like what is your plans there?
oh yeah. So I touched on this a little bit before, but my jujitsu professor wanted me to start training his
Hmm
kids. He started posting on social media, and of course, he kind of has this big audience because he owns his own business as well.
Mm.
So a lot of people were inquiring about it, and I was like, okay, I need like a system for this. Like, I can't just text everyone like, hey, these are my rates.
Mm.
This is, please sign this waiver. Like, I needed to make a website, make it legit. And then I was like, okay, if I'm going to make this legit and it's going to grow, then I need to make a business. And
You
it
just
happened.
did it.
It happened. Um, in terms of future plans, I plan on obviously expanding. Um, my specific market, I think, would be small group training. That
Mm.
is what
Nice.
I really enjoy. And then hopefully like remote programming for whoever wants to work with me as well would be part of that. In terms of like 10 years from now, man, actually, my husband and I, Keith, uh, plan on moving to the Philippines. Yeah.
What? That's a big move. Is this like that's in 10 years, or is that like
It might
so?
be 10
s-
years, might be maybe a little more than that, but the end goal
Wow.
is definitely Philippines.
Philippines. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And basically, you would continue to do business over there then.
Yeah. This is maybe TMI, but I actually was in contact with Heidelin Diaz and
What? That's
had
cool.
told her about maybe opening a gym in the Philippines back in like 2018 before she was a gold medalist and whatever. And
Ah,
she was like, that's my dream too. So,
wow.
um, yeah, hopefully that turns into something, yeah, in
Given
the few years.
given your track record here, I'm sure you're gonna be able to do it too. That's super awesome. That's a very nice thing to aspire to, by the way. I think that's really cool. Okay. Well, there. Let's talk about the Olympics because that's just happening like very recent, right?
Yeah.
Um, Lots of amazing moments. I've seen like so many of my friends sharing all the achievements, especially accomplished by not only our alma mater at UF, right, and then also a lot of different Asian Americans. What about you though? Like, what were some of your favorite moments from the Olympics and why?
I mean, obviously, of course. Heidelin winning gold.
Of course.
I think I watched that maybe 20 times and I still tear up.
What
Um,
what
yeah,
is there like specifics that come to mind? Like, what is it that makes you very joyous from that moment? Like, what do you think of? What goes on through your mind and things like that?
I just really appreciate that she was having fun the whole time, right? She was enjoying herself. She was celebrating even like her beginning lifts, and laughing and screaming and just all the emotion. And when she finally won, it was like, it didn't hit me until I was like, oh wow, the Philippines has not won gold ever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was very, I'm like choking up right now, very emotional. Yeah. What was even the question? I like blanked out. I blanked out.
No, no. I mean, that was pretty much it. It's like your
Okay.
favorite moments and why. And I think that speaks for itself. Just the fact that that's the first time they've won gold, like for a
Yeah.
country to be able to represent your country like that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's super amazing.
Mhm.
We have some comments from Mark. You cannot move until you both get your black belts.
Oh, so it looks like we're moving in 10 years. Wow.
There you go. Keith says for sure opening up a dojo fitness center in Philippines.
Heck yeah.
That would be really awesome. Okay.
For
Now something else. This is more like a little less on the professional side of things, but something that I noticed on IG, watching some of your stories. Is I remember you started rollerblading for the first time. Like, was it
sure.
like this year, or was it like the end of last year, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, how's that been going? And like, why did you decide to rollerblade?
So back when I started, the weather was very amazing outside. It was very pretty.
Uh,
And I was like, we need to be outside more. And my friends, remotely, one of them lives in Oregon, one of them lives in Tampa. One of them gave me a pair of skates, and then one of them was just posting on her story all the time about skating. And she was super new, and I was like, I want to try it. I'm new too. Um, and I was very new and fell on my butt a lot. And
Uh-huh.
then all of a sudden, it was very hot outside, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore.
Fair enough. Fair. Wait, so you haven't you don't do it anymore right now?
Dude, I'm telling you, it's like
Too hot.
90 degrees at
Yeah.
5 in the morning. So
Oh,
I
that's too
can't
hot.
even do it then. Yeah, it's way too hot. And
Texas
we
is pretty hot.
usually like bring our dog with us, and like she would die if I brought her. So yeah,
Yeah, it's not too
we'll
miserable.
get back into it once it starts to get cooler.
Fair. You
Yeah,
enjoyed it though. Pretty fun.
yeah, super fun. It reminded me that I'm not graceful.
Yeah.
Like I did dance for 10 years, like ballet, and was never super good at it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not super good at this either, but it's still fun. Yeah.
I'm sure you're just being modest. I'm sure you're just super graceful on rollerblades and everything. Mark says, "Hope you got room for me and Bonnie."
Heck yeah.
There you
Come
go.
on over.
Okay. So, we're gonna start beginning to wrap up the interview, but one of the things I want to mention, by the way, some of the viewers saw that we are gonna be interviewing you today, and they were all like, "Wow, this is awesome!" Actually, a lot of young Asian females who have done powerlifting or were interested in powerlifting as well, and they were saying like, "Hey, this is really cool. Like, I would like to learn more." And I think this is a common question that I would ask everyone on these live streams. But what kind of tips or advice do you have to someone who's interested in doing what you do, be it like coaching or powerlifting, going for a world record? Like, what tips or advice do you have to those people?
Okay. Tip number one is just go for it,
Mm,
right? Like figure out what you want, what you truly want. Not what your mom wants, not
mm,
what your boyfriend wants. What do you want? Um, Once you have that, figure out who wants to support you, right? Like, um, unfortunately, my parents didn't want to support me at the time. So I had to, go out and find support elsewhere. My cousin is a good um, example, right? She and I, we kind of competed alongside each other that whole time. So I got to train with her. I still train with her when we can. She lives in Pennsylvania now, and
oh,
I live in Texas. Um, and then at the time, I did have the support of several coaches to help guide me. Like, if you're super new at something, don't be so stubborn or egotistical to like, I can do this by myself, right? Like, find someone who knows what they're doing and let them help you. And then in terms of like getting the world record, that's all I needed, right? Knowing what I wanted, having the support to do that. In terms of coaching, kind of the same thing, right? If you're an Asian female, whatever, there's expectations again of your parents, especially, um, that want you to be that doctor, be that nurse, be the engineer. And for a long time, I compromised, right? I was right after graduating. Yes, I was a CrossFit coach, but I also was doing some things on the side where I was like, maybe I can like shadow a physical therapist. So on top of 4 jobs, I was like trying to figure
just
out if I can make
hustling.
it make it work, right? In the end, you have to do what makes you happy because that will likely lead to stability later on. If you're
Mm,
iffy about things, um, you'll get iffy products back, right? Nobody wants to hire a full time coach who like is trying to work doing something else on the side, right? If you're
Hmm.
committed to being full time, put everything you can into it, and it'll come back. And yeah,
Okay, there you
yeah,
have it. And that kind of leads into folks that might want to contact you, probably, especially after this. And what are some places folks can reach out to you? And do you have any plugs or shout outs that you can share?
yeah. I've got an Instagram, right? It is Melissa Diane Lyons. Diane is with two N's, and then Lyons is with a Y. And then I have my own website now. It is Melissa Diane, again with two N's, health.com. And you can book me through there. You can take a look at everything that you've kind of heard today. I've got my background and experience and stuff on the website as well. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, and we'll be sure to like link all the links to your Instagram and website down below. I think you mentioned that you played Pokemon Go on there too, right?
Oh, yeah. Pokemon Go. Add me.
That's still an ongoing thing.
Yeah, man.
Very nice. Very
Of
nice.
course.
Do you? So quick, little tangent, real quick. Do you drive to spots to pick up the Pokemon Go, or do you like kind of just do things along the way?
A little bit of both.
Oh, you so
So,
you okay?
yeah. Back when, again, it was cool. There's a park that we walk to with our dog to go swipe the Pokestops and battle and all that. And then sometimes when we're looking to do raids, which
Oh,
is
you
like
do
my
raids.
yeah,
You're hardcore.
man. We sometimes will drive the neighborhood and go to, you know, to defeat the bosses. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Another platform. Is there like you? It's been a while since I played Pokemon Go, but is there like usernames too that you can like?
So unfortunately, I don't think you can look up anyone by their username. You have to like have their physical, their trainer number.
Oh,
So if you want to DM me on Insta, I'll send you my trainer code.
oh, there you go. Connect with Melissa to play some Pokemon Go with her. Okay, well, that's kind of it for the interview. Huge shout out to you, Melissa, for jumping on this and coming on and speaking with me and the rest of the Subtle Asian Voices crew. Um, yeah, we were excited to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. Um, yeah, thank you.
Oh, and let's read one last comment. Christiania says, "Dude, we went out for boba, and she was catching Pokemon the whole
She's
time."
not wrong.
Ah,
Whoops.
yeah. There's important things to do. Pokemon's important. So, okay. Well, thanks again, Melissa, and then we will see everyone in the audience next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Let's see. Ended.